St. Petersburg, a cradle of Russian history. Since 1703, when Peter the Great founded this city and opened up a window to the west, it has helped shape the course of world events. Today, the Russian team of Angelika Krylova and Oleg Ovsyannikov look to retain their dominance over the world of ice dance and continue to push the boundaries of their sport. As France's Marina Anasina and Gwendal Pezera challenge the top duo in one of the season's most compelling rivalries. In pairs, Yelena Berezhnaya and Anton Sikaridlidze, the world champions, have taken their place in the celebrated line of great Russian skaters. While one of the season's surprises, Xu Weishen and Hongbo Zhao of China, look to threaten the Russian dominance, and Americans Kyoko Ina and John Zimmerman hope to stand on the podium. From St. Petersburg, where the Tsars once ruled a vast empire, today champions will be crowned in a city with a tradition of royalty. The vibrant colors of the Church on Spilled Blood, one of the countless dramatic scenes here in St. Petersburg. Well, the economic woes continue to dictate daily life, but for at least one weekend, the attention turns to figure skating. And many of the world's best have earned their way to the sports and concert complex for the ISU Grand Prix final. We hope you were with us last night as Alexei Yagudin met all expectations through a homecoming party to win the men's crown, and Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan pulled off a stunning upset to win the ladies' title. And hi, everybody, I'm Terry Gannon. After a succession of sanctioned competitions over the course of the season and held all over the world, the Grand Prix Series culminates here in St. Petersburg. Today, the top pairs and ice dancers from those events skate for the titles and the first place prize of $50,000. Now, the pairs are up first, and here's a look at the names that have made it to this final round and the points earned in their two mandatory competitions coming in. The world champions, Yelena Berezhnaya and Anton Sikaridlidze, at the top of the leaderboard with 24 points and the two wins in this series that they had. We welcome in Olympic champion Peggy Fleming right now. They have dominated all year long, but you can't take anything for granted in this sport. It's not Berezhnaya and Sikaridlidze, but Shen and Zhao of China who are in the lead after the short.
Well, Terry, while Shen and Zhao are very exciting to watch, I feel they may show some insecurity with this amount of pressure. This is the first time they've ever been ahead of the reigning world champions, and it's only because Berezhnaya and Sikaridlidze had a very uncharacteristic short program. Elena made major errors and at one point seemed to almost give up. But this couple is so full of life and talent and elegance that one off night shouldn't cost them the championship. And joining me now is the czar of figure skating, Dick Button, whose Russian Rogaine seems to be working wonders.
Я очень рад с вами познакомиться. And I will tell you, in addition to that, I'm very happy to have a full head of hair, even if it is a Russian head of hair.
And yet it does come at a price, because you know there's a skunk.
Thank you very much. We don't need the rest of that lot.
There is a skunk somewhere in St. Petersburg freezing right now because of that.
What really interests me here about this competition is how Russian pair skaters and ice dancers have dominated this sport over the last 40 years. I mean, we instinctively think of the names like the Protopopovs and Rodnina Zaitsev in pair skating and Pakamova Gorshkov, Linichuk and Karponosov in dance. It's been a very powerful history, and that tradition will show up in the competition that we're going to see here today.
Thank you, Boris. Here's a look at the standings heading into this pairs free skate. Xu Weishen and Hongbo Zhao of China trying to pull off the upset. Berezhnaya and Sikaridlidze don't want to lose here at home. The French team, Sarah Abitbol and Stéphane Bernardise in third, just ahead of the Americans, Ina and Zimmerman. And the first pair to take the ice, the lone Americans in this event, Kyoko Ina and John Zimmerman. A second and a third place finish in their two Grand Prix Series competitions this year. And they are in fourth place after the short program.
The music, Phantom of the Opera, Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Only their first season together, and they recently captured the silver medal at the U.S. National Championships.
opening their program with side-by-side triple toe loops.
Now, these side-by-side triple jumps are essential for pair skaters.
Oh, and he obviously fell. Not a very good start.
You know, it's interesting that that particular side-by-side single moves, which have very little to do with pair skating, are one of the most important elements in pair skating. It's rather misplaced importance, I think.
And this is what they fell on at the Nationals. A little rough on the landing. And now side-by-side double axels. Oh, and he fell again.
You see, it's interesting that technically he is the question mark in this pair. He's very uneven technically, but he's very dramatic. She is less dramatic, but technically far more secure.
But their new coach tomorrow, Moscovina, says we don't need to be in a hurry. So they are going to take their time to get used to each other's timing and technique and overall look.
Well, I think they'd better get in a little more of a hurry than they are right now.
Maybe.
Oh, that's sad. That's unfortunate.
Kyoko, of course, the two-time U.S. champion with her former partner, Jason Dungeon. And it has been interesting to see how they've been received here in St. Petersburg this week. Maggie, you mentioned Tamara Moscovina, now their coach, one of the legendary Russian coaches.
And they'll be staying here in St. Petersburg, training with her between now and the World Championships in Helsinki.
Side-by-side jump combination of the simplest order of jumps.
I think they were supposed to be starting out with side-by-side double axels and ended up being a single axel.
This a throw triple salka. Watch him lift her into the air.
A lift like this needs a little more extension on both of their parts, more pointed toes and more extension in her body. Very disappointing performance for them.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think it was uninspired. It didn't follow through. It looked as though they were tentative going through the entire thing. And worse, I think they just don't look as though they've gotten together as a pair yet. They're two totally different styles. The applause is very modest. And I hope they can pull their act together a great deal more before the World Championships.
And this was their opening side-by-side triple toes, where they started off pretty good in the air, but he ended up falling. He just didn't hold on to that landing. He wasn't really over his skate enough to hold on to that. It was a disaster opening. And this was the throw triple loop in which she was like anticipating that landing and ended up falling.
Their coach, Tamara Moscovina, in the red with her husband, Igor, next to her. She better be working overtime the next 2.5 weeks leading up to Helsinki. The first set of marks, all 5.1s for Ina and Zimmerman.
If you notice, the difficulty comes in the triple jumps. That's where the problem is. And that has really very little to do with pair skating. That's the solidity of the skater as an individual.
A 5.1, the rest 5.2s for presentation. So Kyoko Ina and John Zimmerman obviously disappointed with their performance here in St. Petersburg. More of the pairs free skate to come. And here are Maria Petrova and Alexei Tikhonov in 5th place after the short program. A win at Nations Cup, a 2nd place finish at Skate Canada. 2 competitions in the Grand Prix series. They won the European Championship this year.
And they have wonderful presentation. And they also have only been skating together for 8 months, just like Ina and Zimmerman. Opening with side-by-side triple toes. Inside 3 takeoff. Very solid. Very together.
Those are very steady, well done, not extravagant side-by-side triple toe jumps. Those are exceedingly important in the marking system. I think they shouldn't be, because they're individual moves, not pair skating moves, and that's what this sport is supposed to be. This event is supposed to be all about.
And side-by-side double axels, doing 3 turns into a double toe. Their unison is incredible. Nice and smooth. Triple Salchow, lifts her off of that back inside edge. Nice lift, good control.
Did you notice how she opened up before she landed at the peak of the jump? She finished the revolution and then descended. That's the way a jump should be done. This really drape over, lift out.
Very unusual.
We should point out that their win at the European Championships due at least in part to the fact that Yelena Berezhnaya was forced to pull out because she was ill. The world champions did not compete there.
Beautiful stretch on that forward inside death spiral.
But it was a rather weak descent into it. She looked as though she was almost about to sit down on a chair. That's a mistake that many pair skaters make. They're very conscious of their style and their position.
Their body lines are so similar. This makes them a very natural pair.
Yet the height difference is extraordinary. She is only 5 foot, he 6 1/2 inches. That was a very, very sloppy fallout. Something's happened here.
And look at this beautiful unison on these side-by-side flying camels. Good extension.
Yeah, but something's wrong here. They're just not performing very well.
Very slow combination spin.
Wonderful ending lift.
They were wonderful.
But, you know, I don't know what happened to them at the end. It seemed as though they slowed down tremendously, as though they weren't grasping the opportunity, but playing it very conservatively. And that plus the fact that they fell out of that last carry lift. It was, I think, rather unsettling.
Here at home in St. Petersburg, though, plenty of support, most on their feet in this building. They're trying to make the jump from 5th all the way up to 1st. Petrova and Tikhonov. When we continue, Xue Shen and Hongbo Zhao of China, the unlikely leaders after the short program. They skate for the win and the upset next. Welcome back and a look at the Golden Dome of St. Petersburg, St. Isaac's Cathedral. It's been open since 1858, and it is one of the largest in the world. Well, our coverage goes primetime once again with the World Figure Skating Championships. That's Thursday, March 25th, beginning at 9 Eastern and Pacific here on ABC Sports. Michael Weiss, Alexei Yagudin, Elvis Stoichkov will be there as well. And then the ladies take the ice Saturday, March 27th. Our coverage beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern and Pacific. The three-time U.S. champion Michelle Kwan again trying to win the World Championship. That's all here from Helsinki, Finland on ABC Sports.
Now, it is a long shot, but they went from 5th to 1st after the short program at the European Championships, and that's what they're trying to do here.
And this is their throw triple Salchow that was done very well. Good height, good control, plenty of time for her to come out and do that nice landing. Good speed.
And in this very interesting move, watch him press her up, and now watch her drape herself over his single arm lift. And now he'll push her up and out. That's a very nice lift, very unusual.
And now the first set of marks for technical merit, 5.4 up to 5.7. 5.4 coming from the Canadian judge, and there are no Canadian skaters in this event.
And look at the interesting mark that the Canadian is giving for the second mark.
Even lower, 5.3.
Yes.
Yeah. And the range all the way up to 5.7. This crowd doesn't like it at all. The pairs title on the line here in the Grand Prix final in St. Petersburg. And here are the leaders after the short program. The surprise leaders, Xue Shen and Hongbo Zhao of China. 2 second-place finishes in their Grand Prix series events this year.
And this couple has lots of energy and spark, and they really pay attention to their line. Also opening by side-by-side triple toe loops. Very nice. Very calm, very much in control.
Oh, that was a marvelous twist. Triple twist.
Now coming up is a throw triple loop, back outside edge takeoff. Oh, beautiful. Just light, easy.
Aggressive pair.
There's a crispness about their moves, very polished off, a lot of energy to every move they make.
Forward death spiral. That's a very difficult position to achieve, the forward outside edge. Now this throw triple salchow is one of their more spectacular moves. Notice her landings, how secure they are. How clean the edges are. There's no jerking from back inside to back outside edge.
Remember, they skated at the Olympics last season and came in 5th, by far the best finish for a Chinese team ever. And they've been on a roll. They just won the Four Continents competition last week.
Both very secure individual skaters, although he did a single axel there. Jump combination. Is a beautifully pointed right foot.
Oh, good for them. They should be very proud.
That was a difficult program for them to do. Very difficult.
They have been a pair with enormous potential, but you can't call them up-and-comers anymore. Starting to realize that potential now. And you know the Russians are feeling the pressure after that performance. Xue Shen and Hongbao Zhao of China.
And this was the beautiful throw triple loop they did earlier in the program. Nice lift, good control on the landing, good extension on that landing position.
And look at how easy he gets her up into this lift. Right there, he presses her up. Now watch him switch to a one-handed position while she goes into an almost back star, and then a layout and a push down, push out just before she sets down. That's very nice.
Here we go with the first set of marks now. And you expect very high ones. 5.7s and 5.8s for technical merit.
And those are very high marks.
And now for presentation, Dick, 5.5 from the German judge up to a 5.8.
And of course a 5.6 from the French judge, who still has Abitbol and Bernadette coming.
Absolutely. But right now the leaders, Shen and Zhao, as they did after the short program.
The world champions are up next. Yelena Berezhnaya and Anton Sikaridlidze in second place, playing catch-up, but with a home crowd behind them.
This competition is really important for us because all our parents, our friends, everybody who knows us here in St. Petersburg will be here. And we want to skating good because, you know, it's really exciting for us. It's our city.
They'll take the ice after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Welcome back to the Grand Prix final. St. Petersburg in the month of March is one of blizzards and freezing frost. but nothing can diminish the glory of the Hermitage, one of the world's great museums. With more than 3 million items in its collection, credit goes to Catherine the Great, who added thousands of important paintings in the mid and late 1700s. The aptly named Winter Palace, part of the Hermitage, shows the glorious excess of the imperial monarchy, all marble and gold and sparing no expense. Although the economy is in chaos, let's face it, the ruble is in rubble. St. Petersburg has some high-priced names and elegant stores. It even has some of the most familiar sights. This is Baskin-Robbins, where the 31 flavors do include Rocky Road, but as yet, no Banana Karenina. Terry?
Yeah, and Leslie, I believe she was winner of the 1925 European title, right? And Tolstoy was a great coach back then. Well, here are the world champions, Yelena Berezhnaya and Anton Sikaridlidze. They have been winning everything in sight. They've won every competition since finishing second at the '98 Olympics, but a disastrous short program, and they will try to come back from that.
Well, what sets this couple apart is their speed and their outstanding posture. But they do have to redeem themselves after that short program.
She did a double three-turn coming out of the landing edge. Which means that it wasn't a perfect jump. There's a split, triple twist, and she two-footed the landing.
Off to a shaky start.
There is some room at the top, but there's not a whole lot of room.
You don't need a whole lot. It's a combination, side-by-side combination of jumps. First double axels, and she slid off the edge. And then their timing is completely off on this. This is not a very good performance for them.
You may need a lot if they continue to skate like this.
Throw, triple sow cow. Nice. Beautiful extension, beautiful body line, both of them.
An elegant position. As is this. Again, I don't know what's happened to her, but since she's been in this competition from the very beginning, it's as though she is really not focusing or not in the mainstream.
Right.
Press lift. Oh, look at that dropout. What is happening here? It's almost, this is very sad.
It's very unlike them. She is normally a very competitive skater.
Remember, she's the skater who ended up with escape from her previous partner in her head, went through operations, was out of it, and has come back so brilliantly that this performance in this competition is a very sad moment for her. Doesn't the audience know that they're way off?
Well, now there's a real tentativeness to every move that they're making. But they're still so elegant to watch. Really unfortunate.
What a sadness there is, I think, to this young couple. Glier's music sort of matched the mood of tonight's performance.
Well, unless the judges were watching something entirely different, the string of victories for the world champions has just come to an end. Sympathetic cheer, one of support from this crowd, but certainly not a victorious cheer.
And this was the disastrous fall she had on the throw, triple loop. She was good in the air, but she was leaning forward and just tilted up on her landing foot and didn't hold on to it.
And look at this lift here. Now watch him press her up into the air. She goes into a stag position and then begins to come down, but doesn't make the turnover. And that, of course, just didn't complete that lift.
Sometimes when you are at home with your family here and all the distractions, it is harder to focus, but I'm not sure you can attribute that performance to being here in St. Petersburg. It has not been good throughout the week for Berezhnaya and Suguri. 5.3 to 5.7 for technical merit.
And 5.9 from Canada for style and position and artistic impression. Wow.
5.6 up to that 5.9 for the presentation mark. So Berezhnaya and Suguri are now in second place.
And a 5.5 from the U.S. judge.
So the final results look nothing like most here thought they would. Shen and Zhao of China with the win over Berezhnaya and Suguri. The European champs, Petrova and Tikhonov, with a third-place finish, and the Americans, Ina and Zimmerman, finish in fifth place. For the Chinese pair, they have officially arrived. 2 straight wins on the international scene. When we come back to St. Petersburg, the finals of the ice dancing competition. And the Russians, Angelika Krylova and Oleg Ovsyannikov, all they've done is win every event since capturing a world title a year ago. But they're being challenged by the French team, Marina Anasina and Gwendal Pezera, who finished second at the European Championships. The free dance is next. Welcome back to St. Petersburg, Russia. Plenty of history and architecture to see, but you go sightseeing at your own risk. We are in the middle of winter and it is very cold. Much warmer inside the sports and concert complex. Terry Gannon, Dick Button, Leslie Visser ringside as the ice dance competition. They're set for the Grand Prix final here in St. Petersburg. This is how they qualified. Remember, you had to skate in 2 events throughout the series. Krylova and Ovsyannikov, the world champions, as well as Anasina and Pezera of France, each winning both competitions in which they entered. They have 24 points coming in, and that has been one of the most compelling rivalries throughout the season. And Dick, you look right now at the world champions, Krylova and Ovsyannikov of Russia.
Well, now one thing you have to note is for these unusual lifts that they have. They're very intricate moves and difficult, I will tell you. Secondly of all, they had a very risky music selection. It's mostly African drums with no melody, and I'm not sure if that's going to help them tremendously. They do have a great deal of speed, and sometimes she's a little heavy on the emotional projection, but they're a very talented and very expert pair technically.
Right behind them, Marina Anasina and Gwendal Pezera of France.
And they've chosen a much more melodic
piece of music. They also have difficult and intricate moves. Many of the lifts are fun because she lifts him rather than the other way around. Now they have a great relationship with each other. You really feel as though they're almost in love with each other, the way they dance together. Traditional and emotional theme.
So here are the standings heading into this free dance. Krylova and Ovsyannikov trying to win here in their home country. And Asina and Pezera have pushed them all year, though, including at the European Championships, when many in the crowd thought they should have won. Lobacheva Averbuk of Russia in third place. And here are Margarita Drobiazko and Povilas Vanagas of Lithuania in fifth place.
And the music, Sunrise at Alcatraz by Michael Sanchez. That kind of separation is very rare and not allowed very extensively in ice dancing. Very talented couple. They move with great speed, great energy. They're technically very strong. This is their diagonal step from one corner of the rink to the other. Remember, in ice dancing, there can be a melody and there must be a beat. Many of the ice dancers of the past years took on programs that had enormously beautiful melodies, but very little beat. Thank you very much, Christopher Dean and Jane Torval and Christopher Dean.
This is a couple that have worked with Christopher Dean. That was over the course of last season. Now, Povilas Vanagas, 10 years ago, he's 28 years old, but 10 years ago he was given the choice of joining the Soviet Army or becoming a skater. How long do you think it took him to make up his mind?
Listen to this music. This is all melody, but you can hear an applied tick, 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 which is the beat. They applied that to the music to make it legal. Can you hear it?
Very faint.
Skating to the melody. It's not really an ice dance, and that's very risky in this world of rules and regulations. You hear the beat in the background? Now they're back to a prominent beat. Look at how strong their edging is. How crisp and clean their moves are. These turning lifts. Remember, they must have 5 different lifts, but not more than 7. I find them a very attractive couple. I really enjoy their dancing. I find them technically strong, very fast, powerful.
well matched, and I like their musical interpretation.
We always talk about it. It's so hard to move up in ice dancing, but you have to believe they're going to start doing that. A year ago, 8th at the World Championships. This year at Europeans, they finished 5th. Margarita Drobiazko and Tovilas Vanagas.
This season, they stood on the podium for the first time at the European Championships. Arina Lebacheva and Ilya Averbuk of Russia skate next from St. Petersburg.
Drobiazko, Vanagas, and Yelena Chekhovskaya with a hat that even Dick would not wear.
Well, I must say that they were very good. I enjoyed their dancing. Look at this opening of their program, in which they start as two separate ice dancers coming together for one of the required dance spins that they had to do. Very unusual. It must have, by the way, a certain number of revolutions. The rules governing all of this, extremely precise.
And you will list them at the end of the night for us.
I think if we had another hour of programming, we could do that.
First set of marks, 5.2 to 5.6. 7 times they've been the national champions of Lithuania and moving up on the world scene. 5.5 up to 5.8. You can tell they're very happy. Here are the bronze medalists from the European Championships in Prague. They are both from Moscow. Arina Lobacheva and Ilya Averbuk, 2 second-place finishes in the Grand Prix series this season, and they are currently in 3rd place.
Also a couple that has wonderful technique and also skates with a great deal of speed. One of the required numbers of lifts that the dancers must do. All of these new requirements have been put in so that the judges can have a very strong list of elements on which to base their mark. This is another one of their lifts.
To take it even further from the subjective to the objective, but things do get complicated, don't they?
Very. See the very deep edges, very intricate moves. Look at this wraparound lift.
Ilya Averbuk used to skate with Marina Anasina. Now skates, of course, with Gwendal Pezara. They're still to come and in 2nd place. But he fell in love with Arina Lobacheva. They've been married now for a couple of years.
I think you can tell that in the way they relate to each other on the ice. This is truly 2 dancers skating as one. Long shoot the duck. Interesting position. Elegant lift, moving into a spin. Those are twizzles right there. By the way, there's a required number of twizzles that most of them must do. This is straight line step. Very complicated. This is a diagonal footwork sequence. You know, that's a very technically difficult dance. They skate with great speed, good energy. And they have really a delightful relationship between each other. They have, so far at this point, been ranked 4th in the world, 5th at the Olympics. And there's a big question as to how and whether they'll move up.
They know they're ice dancing here in Russia, especially in St. Petersburg. And a nice applause for Irina Lobacheva and Ilya Averbukh. Coming up next, Angelika Krylova and Oleg Ovsyannikov. For them, this is homecoming weekend.
We're very happy come back in St. Petersburg. We very like skate here. Public like us very much. I think this help and the public take care of us.
They lead after the original dance, and the world champions will take the ice after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Irina Lobacheva and Ilya Averbukh awaiting their marks here in the ice dancing competition. In the first set, 5.5 to 5.7. Now we're in 3rd place heading into the free dance.
Does that show you a little sort of consistency of opinion upon the part of the judges?
5.6 up to 5.8 for presentation, so they lead, but you've got the two that were in the lead, the top two heading into this free dance still to come. And here are the world champions, Angelika Krylova and Oleg Ovsyannikov. They've been winning everything in sight, most recently the European Championship.
The music they will skate to are modern African drums. This is a very risky dance for them to do. It's all drums. There's no melody. And that makes it unusual in the world of ice dancing. Just rhythm the whole way. But one thing they have is extraordinary speed, very good edging. Very good technique. For those of our viewers who are dance aficionados, I relate this dance to the Duchenes, choreographed by Christopher Dean. A totally different kind of dance. Look at that lift. One criticism that's been made of this dance is that there's a lot of side-by-side skating, which we're seeing right here, rather than face-to-face as we're now seeing. And a variety of dance positions. Look at this lift. Talk about complications. You know, that was a dance that I've sort of resisted for a long period of time, and yet it held me. It held my attention. I thought it was very, very intriguing, and the extensiveness, the difficulty of the technique kept my attention beautifully.
Risky, as you pointed out, but it worked. At least here
it did.
Today, it did.
I think that the real problem will come with Anasina and Peisarat, whether their more melodic dance will be favored by the judges in the upset of all times if it happens.
It would be huge here in Russia, but the judges clearly given a distinction with the two different styles.
Now, look at this final lift. One of the requirements, again, note the fact that his arms can't go above his shoulders, but she certainly gets into a rather complicated position.
Don't try this at home.
No. And watch, she ends right on toe point. Very difficult.
5'9", 5'8",
The Russian, European, and world champions, Krylova and Ovsyannikov. The first set of marks, 5.6 up to 5.9.
And I think that's very satisfying for their coaches, Natalia Linichuk and Gennady Karponosov, who are the 1980 Olympic ice dance champions from Lake Placid. And by the way, they all trained down in Newark, Delaware.
5.8s and 5.9s for presentation. They have set the standard. Now it's up to Anasina and Peisarat. The French team with a classical influence. They're in second place with a very real chance to win and upset the Russians. They skate next. Moments away from taking the ice, the French national champions, Marina Anasina and Gwendal Peisarat. For Marina, it's an emotional homecoming. She is originally from Russia, and this is the first time that she has returned to compete in her home country. For more, let's join Leslie Visser.
Terry, many people are aware of the emigration of great male Russian skaters. They come to train in the United States. But in a modern twist, one female skater left Russia not to train in the U.S., but to become a citizen of France. 6 years ago, Marina Anasina won the Russian junior title, then lost her partner when he fell in love with another skater. At 17, Marina had to start over, so she wrote a letter to French skater Gwendal Peisarat. He was available and interested, but he was also training in his hometown of Lyon. Marina, determined to skate, packed her bags and began a new life.
It's a big difference with Russia. And at the beginning, it was not so easy to change everything. I didn't speak French. I didn't know the country at all. But now I know everything.
Marina had a lot to learn, becoming acquainted with a new partner, new choreography, a different culture, and a foreign language all at once. On the ice, she and Gwendal improvised, creating a bouillabaisse of French, English, and Russian, which allowed them to somehow make their way through the first few months of training.
Actually, we handled it pretty well during practices, mixing three languages. But the very first moment was okay, because when you're on the ice, it's the body who speaks more than the tongue.
Marina has adapted to her adopted city. She joined a health club and recently moved herself and her mother into a chic downtown neighborhood of Lyon. While Marina is in constant movement, Gwendal is tranquil and studious. He's working on his 4th university degree, this one in business, at a school not far from where he grew up. Unlike his emotional partner, Gwendal is cool and calm, but when they perform, the chemistry is obvious.
We're so different that we are very, very additional. And we choose not to lose one and to take just the other one. And that's what makes our couple very rich.
In a move which has become their trademark, they perform a lift in which she appears to be holding him aloft. They see this move as a way of celebrating the opposite yet equal strengths of male and female. Yet if they are to beat the reigning European champions, they must hope that the judges are ready to embrace this feminist view as well.
An emotional weekend for Marina Anasina back home in Russia. She and Gwendal Pereira trying to overtake Krylova and Ovsyannikov.
The man in the iron mask. Now, notice how much more emotional and melodic this is than the previous dance. It presents a clear-cut difference between the two styles of ice dancing. Last winter in Nagano was one of the great ice dances of all time. Notice how romantic, emotional the relationship is. These lifts where she lifts him. This has been an invention of their part through several years of ice dancing, now copied by many other ice dancers and pair skaters, come to think of it. Great speed. Notice the intricacy of the footwork. The steps very complicated. Dance lift, upside down position. Very complicated. Very beautiful. I think you make your choice, you take your pick.
But you wouldn't want to be a judge right now because that's an awfully hard decision.
Well, you know something? Anasina and Pesarat, I have been absolutely great fans of theirs. I thought their performance at the Olympic Games last year was one of the brilliant ice dances of all time. In tonight's performance, I think I'd probably have to give it to our friends Krylova and Ovsyannikov because of the speed and the intricacy of the and the drama of that program.
Have to wait to find out what the judges think. We'll come back and see if they can overtake Krylova and Ovsyannikov.
I tell you, I gotta like them both.
We are back in St. Petersburg, Russia, the Hermitage, which houses over 3 million works of art. They say you can spend 70 years trying to view each one. So the ice dancing competition comes down to this. Marina Anasina, Gwendal Pesarat, they wait, they watch for the scores.
You've got to remember that for them to beat out Krylova and Ovsyannikov will be a tremendous upset. And if so, part of it would be to these inventive moves that they do right here. Watch where she lifts him and he stretches out. Isn't that interesting? But there's one thing that if they upset Krylova and Ovsyannikov, it will be one of the major upsets in the skating world. A mind-boggling change. I don't think tonight's performance had quite the excitement and flair that it would take to have that happen.
First set of marks, Dix, 5.5 to 5.7 for technical merit. In the same ballpark, but a few higher marks for Krylova and Ovsyannikov. And for presentation, 5.8s, 5.9s, not enough. And they finished second. Anasina and Pesarat once again right behind the Russians.
Well, I've got to tell you, it was beautiful skating, no matter how you slice it.
So the world champions prevail again here on their home ice. Anasina and Pesarat have to be frustrated. It keeps happening to them, but they'll try again in less than 3 weeks in Helsinki. And Lomacheva and Averbuk capture third, the Russians 2 of the top 3 spots. So the victors here at the Grand Prix final, Krylova and Ovsyannikov. Shen and Zhao of China, the upset winners in the pairs competition. They're full of confidence. Their role continues. 18-year-old world champion Alexei Yagudin won the men's, and Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan the ladies. We will see you next March 25th in prime time at the World Figure Skating Championships. Michael Weiss and the men take the ice then. And on Saturday the 27th, Michelle Kwan eyes her third ladies crown here on the home of the World Figure Skating Championships. For our entire ABC crew, so long from St. Petersburg, let's go back to New York and join John Saunders.
Echoes of history sound across its skyline. A city born in 1703, when Peter the Great laid the foundation for his fortress at the mouth of the Neva River. From Catherine the Great to the tragic siege of World War II, it has been a symbol of the enduring Russian culture and spirit. But it's an epic Russian rivalry tonight in St. Petersburg. The world champion, Alexei Yagudin, has top billing here on home ice, along with the young lion, 16-year-old Yevgeny Plushenko, armed with his powerful quadruple jump, and the 94 Olympic champion, Alexei Urmanov. It's up to the recently crowned U.S. national champion, Michael Weiss, to try to dethrone the Russians. The European champion, Maria Butirskaya, looks to prove herself once again here in her home country. So too, the 98 world silver medalist, Irina Slutskaya. St. Petersburg, a city with almost 3 centuries of remarkable history, hosts one night of skating's best. On a brilliantly moonlit Saturday night in St. Petersburg, the Hermitage shines along the banks of the Neva River, once home to the Russian czars, now one of the world's great museums. And a few miles away, we welcome you inside the sports and concert complex, where many of the world's finest figure skaters have assembled for the ISU Grand Prix final. And hi, everybody, I'm Terry Gannon. Tonight is the culmination of a season-long series of high-profile competitions, all sanctioned by the International Skating Union. The top eligible skaters began competing in October with one goal in mind, earning a trip here to St. Petersburg and a chance to skate for the top prize of $50,000. This evening, the ladies and men will decide their titles, and then our coverage continues tomorrow afternoon with the pairs and ice dancing finals beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern. Now, this Grand Prix series is made up of 6 competitions in 6 different countries all around the world. Skaters must compete in 2 events, earning points to qualify for this weekend's final. Here's how things stood for the ladies coming into this event. 2 Russians, Maria Butirskaya and Yelena Sokolova, at the top of the leaderboard with 24 points based on their 2 wins in the series. And we welcome in Olympic champion Peggy Fleming. You can't take things for granted, though. Maria Butirskaya came in here in her home country as the odds-on favorite. But after the short programs, which have already taken place, Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan is in the lead.
Well, that's true, Terry. But that lead is probably not going to last. Tatiana is only ahead of Maria Butirskaya because one of her required elements was a more difficult jump than Maria's. They both skated clean short programs, but Maria's was still the more polished performance. She has been riding a wave of confidence since last year's Worlds, and a second place is not where Maria intends to stay. And joining us, our colleague, Olympic champion Dick Button. And for Maria, you know, Dick, this win here with this title would be especially satisfying for her because this is her home country.
Well, you know, for me, being here is not about any one individual, but about the bigger picture. This is a country where art and architecture, where revolution and royal tragedy, and most of all, music and beauty color the landscape. It's a country where ballet has been a tradition for 200 years, where the names of Pavlova and Nijinsky and Baryshnikov have been the Russian counterparts to Joe DiMaggio and Babe Ruth. So what I look for here is powerful athleticism in the skating, the spring of great jumps, the interpretation of music, and clean and stylish flow of edges. Now that's a lot to ask for, but it's here if you look for it.
And here are the standings heading into the ladies' free skate. Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan trying to pull off a huge upset. Maria Butirskaya, the 2-time European champion, in second, ahead of another 2-time European title holder, Arina Slutskaya, who is in third.
And the free skate worth 2/3 of the overall score, and it lasts 4 minutes. And here's the first skater, Fumie Suguri of Japan, 18 years of age, and a 2nd and 3rd place finish in her 2 Grand Prix Series events.
She has a very ambitious program planned. She has 7 triples planned in this program. She hasn't been very consistent in the practices.
She is in 6th place heading into the free skate.
But on this opening move, watch the arc of the skate that the skate leaves on the ice. The arch, the whole arc that she goes into it right here. The curve and nice rounded edge flowing in and flowing out. No jerkiness, no changing of edges. That's very important and shows a very good basic training.
Preparing for her triple flip. Forward 3 turn. Very nice. Good height. Good spring to it. Nice control on the landing.
And did you notice how the edge flowed out in a nice straight arc? There's no back inside edge landing. No jerkiness to that quality. That's very nice. That one, unfortunately, was not. Rather nice position. She seems very, in a sense, immature, as though the technique is right, the positions are right, but she hasn't quite learned to develop them through to their logical end. It's a triple loop, which became a single loop jump.
She needs to make every move important, just like stroking around the rink, gathering speed. Make those positions look important. Nice triple Lutz.
She finished second at the Japanese National Championships and trying to do well here to make the Japanese world team as well. Recently left her coach, Lori Nichols, her choreographer, whom she shares with Michelle Kwan.
She's just not feeling this music yet.
And she looks a little slow out here. Nice triple toe loop.
She has a very good athletic ability. Her jumping quality is really quite nice.
Having these difficult jumps at the end of these 4 minutes is quite an accomplishment.
Triple Salchow.
Oh, good. That's what she fell on earlier.
Well, there certainly were some very nice qualities about her skating. The jumping in particular had a nice entrance flow, exit flow. The rest of the skating looked very immature, as though she has just not been listening to the music. She follows it, but she doesn't listen to it.
Only 18 years of age and a grand stage here in St. Petersburg with some of the best in the world. Fumie Suguri of Japan. Up next, Yelena Sokolova of Russia, who in the last year has found a renewed love of her sport.
I just wanna jump, wanna skate, and just wanna be best.
Welcome back to the Grand Prix final. 18-year-old Fumie Suguri of Japan in kiss and cry, waiting for her marks.
Her program started out so well until this triple Salchow, where she went up in the air very nice, but it seemed like she didn't get enough height to finish the rotations and was leaning out and couldn't hold on to it.
You mentioned earlier that she left her coach after a recent competition. Audrey Wissiger, who coaches Michael Weiss, is coaching here in St. Petersburg. First set of marks for technical merit, 5.4s and 5.5s. And now the second set for presentation, 5.3 up to 5.5.
Really very nice, creditable marks.
So the first skater of the evening, Fumie Suguri of Japan, in 6th place after the short program. Right now, obviously in first, she set the standard.
And here is 19-year-old Yelena Sokolova of Russia. She is from Moscow. And one of those trying not only to do well here, she had 2 wins in the Grand Prix series atop the leaderboard with Maria Butirskaya coming in, but she's in 4th after the short program, and she's also competing to make the Russian World Championship team.
She has good jumping technique and some flashes of personality when she skates. Of course, she has to concentrate on these jumps. The opening is a triple Lutz. Double toe. Very nice.
Almost looked as if she double-footed it.
We'll have to see that in the replay, maybe.
triple-footed that one. It's almost as though she's in slow motion going into these jumps. Very long setup into that triple, both the triple Lutz and the triple flip. It's sort of like a boxer taking forever to unleash a punch. Won't be very effective when it does finally happen.
She looks like a very natural jumper, very relaxed when she goes into these very difficult jumps. And now a combination triple loop, double loop combination. Very nice. She did a toe loop. A double toe loop after that.
Did not make it to Prague for the European Championships. She was not part of the Russian team there. We saw two other young skaters, Yulia Soldatova and Victoria Volchkova there. And many here in St. Petersburg feel that they will make it to Helsinki for the World Championships, along with Maria Butyrskaya.
Look at how long she's going into that move. I mean, you just can't hold yourself in a solid, position without reflecting, having reflex in that. And that's why she falls on those things. And that was a double instead of a triple. See, this kind of a performance is not going to stand her in very good stead with the Russian Federation if they're going to try to decide who is going on to the World Championship.
World, as we talk about the top skaters in the world, Michelle Kwan decided not to skate in the series this year, at least in part because this event was so close to the World Championships, which is less than 3 weeks away in Helsinki, Finland.
Well, I think the problem was that she didn't want to fly all the way from California here, go back to California, and then go back to Finland.
Exactly.
And that was supposed to have been another double axel.
It looked like she just totally concentrated just on the jump. I think she could have made this program come to life a little bit more if she paid attention to more of the details.
You know, she could be a very attractive skater. I just think that there's not enough sort of zing, not enough push, not enough energy that carries her over those mistakes that she was making.
Nice reaction from the crowd, but after all, we are in Russia, and maybe a forced smile at the end from Yelena Sokolova.
Up next, Irina Slutskaya of Russia, who's overcome some unusual conditions at her practice rink.
Before Russian national, ice machine Zamboni, it's broke, and we take water, First we clean ice, and after we take water, put on the ice, wait maybe 15-20 minutes. It's freezing, and we go skating.
Welcome back to St. Petersburg, Russia, and the Hermitage, part of the remarkable history here in one of the world's great art collections. And a reminder, our coverage continues from St. Petersburg tomorrow at 1 Eastern, 3 Pacific here on ABC Sports. The pairs and ice dancing finals for the ISU Grand Prix final. Kyoko Ina and John Zimmerman, the Americans in the pairs competition, and the world champions over in ice dance, Angelika Krylova and Oleg Ovsyannikov, back home here in Russia. That's tomorrow right here on ABC Sports. Back in St. Petersburg, Yelena Sokolova following her performance here in the free skate.
Her opening combination triple Lutz, double toe, very solid. And she gets good spring on that second double toe, and good flowing edge out of it. Very nice opening.
But look here, how long she holds this edge for, and then finally moves into it without enough of a spring. And it just wasn't tight enough. She had to pull harder and focus on the jump, the revolution of the jump. You cannot sit there on a long edge and expect it to work.
An up and down season for her. She had 2 wins in the Grand Prix series, but she finished 5th at the Russian National Championships. The first set of marks for technical merit, 5.4 up to 5.6.
I got to tell you, those are very generous marks all the way down the line here. Too many mistakes.
And the second set for presentation, not quite as high, but a wider range. 5.3 up to 5.7. So in terms of the few who have skated here in the free skate, she is in the lead. A familiar face, the 2-time European champion, but that was a couple of years ago. Now 20 years of age, Arina Slutskaya. A 3rd place finish, a 2nd place finish in the Grand Prix series this season. But she is another one, not only trying to skate well here, but also to make the Russian World Championship team.
She did a wonderful job in the short program. She has been a really awkward skater up to this point, and suddenly she showed tremendous interest in improving her style and her positions.
Well, she's really struggled this past year in competition, and her body seems to have gone through a lot of changes. So there are a lot of adjustments that she's had to do these past few years. She's opening with a triple Lutz.
Now look at how she does these turns right into it. She was having great performances with that in the practice session and in the short program.
Triple Salchow double loop, very nice.
That's particularly hard because there's no step or no toe pick between the 2 jumps. Triple toe.
Now remember, if you're in the top 3 going into the free skate, you control your own destiny. If you win this portion of the competition, you are the overall winner. Arina did make the world team a year ago, and she finished with the silver medal right behind Michelle Kwan.
Her problem up to this point has been that she has been really a very awkward and unattractive skater. The line, the positions that she struck through the years were really somewhat almost atrocious. This year she has worked very hard at that, and you can see a great concentration on position. Still not wildly successful, but 1,000% better than what it was just a year ago.
And she seems to come alive in performances. We were watching her in practice, and she didn't go through her routines all the way, and I didn't see any life until she gets out here in front of the crowd. 2-footed that triple Lutz.
That's still not as good as it could be.
You know, Peggy, so many of the Russian skaters don't go through their routines in practice all the way. Did you ever go into a competition without having done that?
No, I wouldn't ever think of not going through my program in a practice. It just gets your mind set, and then muscle memory can kick in. I don't know why they don't do that.
That was a beauty, that triple loop jump. Well, are you talking about practice sessions here at the competition or practice sessions during the year?
In talking to them many times throughout the year, they don't do it in their practices either.
Good speed in this combination spin, and her Bielman that she does on both legs. Very flexible. But everything's a little sloppy. There's no real finishing off of every move.
I'm not sure where all of that music was going to. It didn't seem to help her. It didn't seem to build to, you know, a nice finish for her. It wasn't quite there.
Well, no one has really emerged as of yet. Remember, though, the top two in the standings still to come, and it will be between them for the win. And when we return, Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan, the surprise leader after the short program, skates next. Right after this message and a word from our ABC station. Arina Slutskaya was in third place after the short program. She is now waiting to see what the judges thought of her free skate.
You know, I must say that I am pleased with the amount of work that she has done this year.
And this is her triple Salchow double loop combination. A good flow to the speed of these jumps together. A very pretty jump and more difficult than any other combination that any of the skaters are doing at this championship.
First set of marks now for technical merit. 5.4 up to 5.7.
I think that's a recognition of the fact of how far she's come in her style and her position.
She was amazed that she skated cleanly at the Russian Nationals and only came in fourth place. Pretty upset by that. Now the marks for presentation, 5.6s and 5.7s. So Arina Slutskaya moves into the lead in terms of those that have skated so far. At this point, it is Slutskaya ahead of Sokolova, two Russians at the top, and then Fumie Suguri from Japan in third place. But here is the leader after the short program, and the surprising leader, Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan.
Well, she's thrilled to be in first place at this point. This will either give her a lot of confidence or make her very nervous.
Note the very easy edging that she has. Nice back, nice positions. But again, the name of the game are these triple jumps.
Nice triple odds.
Well, she didn't reach back far enough, and it almost offset her.
Triple flip.
Wasn't that light?
Yes.
Very, very nice quality to that jump.
And an unusual takeoff for a triple flip to go around a corner rather than straight down the ice.
Well, those were beautiful, all of them.
Trying to put the pressure on Maria Butyrskaya, who is home in her country. But Tatiana represents Uzbekistan, but she is from Russia. Now has moved to Dale, Virginia, where she lives and trains.
Triple loop jump.
She's skating very well so far. She looks very comfortable. She's taking every jump as an individual and really focusing.
This is one of the requirements, a combination spiral sequence.
Choreography very much in the character of her music from Aladdin. She's skating very well.
It's a very gentle performance. She certainly doesn't throw anything away. It's all very careful and meticulous.
She doesn't look hurried or rushed.
This is another requirement, a circular step sequence. One huge circle around the ring.
And her final combination jump, the end of this 4 minutes, triple Lutz, double toe. That was a double.
Now she does here, right at this point, a forward scratch spin. Now watch her pull this. This is what used to be called a blurred spin. You don't see them very often.
Oh, good for her. She skated very well.
Well, she held up under the pressure. The pressure must have been enormous for her, and that's a great credit to her. Very gentle skating, very meticulous, very light quality to it.
It may seem like she's come out of nowhere, but she's actually 26 years old. 3 knee surgeries kept her off the ice for years. But now she's trying to win this title. Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan. And when we come back, Maria Butirskaya, the 2-time and reigning European champion, in second place, looking to move up for the win. Welcome back to St. Petersburg. That's the Alexandrinsky Theater in the background. And surprisingly, in the foreground, the only monument that you can find to Catherine the Great here in this city. Our skating coverage goes prime time again with the World Figure Skating Championships. Thursday, March 25th at 9 Eastern and Pacific here on ABC Sports. Michael Weiss taking on the likes of Elvis Stoico and Alexei Yagudin. And then our coverage of the year's most important skating event continues Saturday, March 27th at 8 Eastern and Pacific when the 3-time U.S. champion Michelle Kwan tries to defend her title in the ladies competition. That's all here on ABC Sports from Helsinki, Finland. Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan, the surprise leader after the short program, and very happy with her performance in the free skate.
And this was a look at her triple sow double toe combination. She did very well. The only combination that she did. She just looked so calm and so confident in every one of her jumps.
Well, she looks lonely awaiting her marks because her coach went back here to Russia. She lives and trains in Virginia now.
And as she says, she coaches herself.
Doing quite well, yes. The first set of marks now. 5.7s and 5.8s.
And those are very high marks and very strong marks and well deserved.
And now the second set for presentation, Dick, 5.7 up to a couple of 5.9s, and obviously she is in the lead over Slutskaya. So it's Malinina, Slutskaya, and Sokolova. 1, 2, 3 in the standings, and it comes down to a battle of the 26-year-olds. Maria Butirskaya of Russia, the 6-time Russian national champion, and she's been on a roll the past year and a half, really enjoying the best days of her career, but desperately wants a win here in her home country. Found herself in second place after the short program.
She feels her potential as an eligible hasn't yet been fulfilled. And just like it was at the Europeans, her only competition is really herself. Opening with a nice triple Lutz.
you notice the curve of that jump? When she entered the jump, it was on a curve, and a flip jump should be on a straight line. Nice position in this camel, though.
Well, she's battled nerves all of her career. She goes into these jumps very cautiously.
This is triple Salchow. She needs every one of these triples. That move right there will cost her this championship. Any hope of pulling up. Remember, that was one of those disastrous falls where you're really splat out on the ice and everybody sort of feels for you. You cannot hide those moves.
Triple loop, double loop combination. Nice triple loop.
You notice how stiff-legged she is when she lands. She doesn't sink into the knees. There's not an elegance or a beauty either there or in this layback. Does pull it out at the end.
Yes. It's so tough to still keep skating after you've had such a rough start.
A spiral combination.
She added this triple loop. This wasn't planned in the program. And a double axel.
The final spin, a combination spin. Forward camel, sideways spin, back camel. Back sit spin.
Disappointing for her.
You know, she is not a great athlete, but she has survived and overcome that in the past few performances, and it's been really marvelous to see. It just fell apart tonight, and that's very, very unfortunate for her.
Well, at one point, the Russian Federation pretty much gave up on her. That's how she felt, and so many doubted her here in Russia. She went out and proved them wrong. She really wanted to do that at home here in this competition as well.
Look at her face. Doesn't that tell you the whole story?
Maria Butyrskaya, and you could feel the air go out of this building when she lay on the ice after having fallen.
And here is her triple flip, her second jump in the program. That was a disaster. Her feet were just kind of stuck together. She didn't get enough spring in that to finish the revolutions.
And I think
really
a lot of that.
Unfortunate.
Look at here in this Salchow right there. Good crossed legs, but her body just flops forward, and it's one of those spins, one of those falls which just stops the motion, splats you across the ice, and leaves you in a disastrous position.
And this is how she left the ice, although it took her a long time to leave the ice. And the crowd at some point started to cheer to pick her up.
There she is with her coach, Elena Tchaikovskaya, one of the great teachers.
Первая оценка 5-5, 5-7, 5-6, 5-7, 5-5.
So now the first set of marks, 5.5 up to 5.7.
What can you say about those? I mean,
I think she's in just disbelief that this all happened to her.
She doesn't even want to look. So here are the final results in the ladies' competition. Tatiana Malinina is the winner. Maria Butirskaya finishes second. We'll see those two at the World Championships in Helsinki. Don't know yet about Irina Slutskaya, who finished third, or Yelena Sokolova, both from Russia, who finished fourth. Fumie Suguri of Japan finishes in fifth. When we come back to St. Petersburg, the men will take the ice. And the reigning U.S. champion Michael Weiss has come all the way from Fairfax, Virginia to challenge a powerful Russian trio that includes the world champion Alexei Yagudin, 94 Olympic gold medalist Alexei Urmanov, and the young gun, high-flying Yevgeny Plushenko. That's next from the Grand Prix final. Welcome back to St. Petersburg, Russia. The light shining on one of the many intricate bridges that cross the Neva River here. And they call this the City of Three Revolutions. Well, we're going to see four tonight because the men are on the ice warming up for their Grand Prix final. And nearly everyone tells us that he will attempt the quadruple jump. Terry Gannon, Dick Button, Leslie Visser, ringside here at the Sports and Concert Complex. And let's take a look right now at how the men qualified for this final round. Remember, you had to skate in two Grand Prix Series events. Alexei Yagudin and Yevgeny Plushenko of Russia won both of theirs. Alexei Urmanov with 19 points and the U.S. champion Michael Weiss with 18 points coming in. And the men continuing to warm up here, and there's a look at the reigning world champion back in his own neighborhood, Alexei Yagudin.
But what you have to watch for with him, first of all, is his quadruple toe loop jump. I mean, that's the pièce de résistance of all jumps. If he pulls it off, he will certainly get some extra nods from the judges. In addition to that, he does every triple known to man. And on more than that, he has an artistic unity. He's not afraid of establishing an artistic concept and then following it through out the entire program. That's nice to see. He develops that very well. And then there's Evgeny Plushenko. He also has a quadruple toe loop, and if he does that, he too will be right up at the top. But then he has an enormous amount of youthful energy and spring, which he just knocked the socks off everybody at the European Championships in Prague a couple of weeks ago. He's one of the few men to do the Bielman spin, and he also can do every triple in the books. He's quite, an athletic performer. Look at this triple let's jump right here.
Well, those two Russians, the favorites, but you can't forget about the 94 Olympic champion Alexei Urmanov either.
Well, he's the heartthrob of all the young ladies here in St. Petersburg. Everybody likes him. He's very popular, and he has a wonderful, elegant style.
And the newly crowned U.S. men's champion, Michael Weiss, he told us at the national championships, at this level, against this competition, he had to have the quad jump. Now, he softened that a little bit, but he did try it in the short program and nearly hit it. He just missed standing up on it. So here are the standings heading into this men's free skate. Alexei Yagudin in the lead over Yevgeny Plushenko. And it's Alexei Urmanov in third, Alexander App, and Michael Weiss in fifth place. Remember, if you're in the top three heading into the free skate and you win it, you are the overall champion. This free skate worth 2/3 of the overall score. It lasts 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And here is Alexander Apt in fourth place after the short program and a second and a third place finish in his Grand Prix events this season. And he is from Moscow.
The music, songs from the victorious city, and Tablat and Bestem. Every one of these skaters must complete cleanly a triple axel, which he has planned right here as his opening move. Beautiful revolution in the air, very tight, but no control over the landing. He can redeem himself with a quadruple jump, which he's planned for coming up very shortly. Right here. Now watch him turn, step, double-footed that landing.
Apt spent 2 years in the Russian army. Remember a couple of years ago, he burst onto the scene at Skate America. But then he had injuries in '95. In '96, a skate blade sliced his quadricep muscle, couldn't walk for 6 months.
There's another triple axel. He's having problems with that tonight. He can do those very easily as
The Russians heavily favored here in the men's competition. A lot of people around here were talking about a Russian sweep in all 4 disciplines. We now know that that won't happen. Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan capturing the ladies' title.
triple Lutz jump. Is very sloppily skating down the ice here as he goes into this triple flip. I mean, that was really, not only was it a lousy jump, it was a lousy entrance to it. I'm surprised that he could be that sloppy when he's spending the rest of the time trying to work out this kind of choreographic movement. Was a triple loop jump. Salchow, triple Salchow. I don't know, for a country that has been so steeped in great dance tradition, I'm rather appalled at the sort of stop and start complications here in this choreography. That sit spin didn't get anywhere near down far enough into a sitting position. Well, I don't know what to say.
I can tell. Well, he finished 4th at the Russian National Championships, trying to get back to that form after the injuries the past couple of seasons that he had in '94, but tonight not his night. Alexander Apt.
Just uninspiring.
The men's free skate underway here in the Grand Prix final. Alexander Apt, well, inept in this free skate. Not a good effort for him.
Well, look at this quadruple that he does here. There, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost out, double foots it. That was a creditable attempt. But in this triple axel, he had less success. Look at how the edge curved going into it. Landing, he was unable to support it in any way, didn't unhook, didn't have the strength to push up on the landing leg, and splatted.
And he's not even going to wait around for the rest of his marks. Technical merit marks, 5.2s, 5.3s.
Well, that was not a performance to be proud of.
No. We're coming back with the newly crowned U.S. men's champion, Michael Weiss, who's looking forward to taking on the Russians here on their home ice.
I think it's pretty good. You know, I've beaten them before in the past. You know, I think it's just fun. You know, it's really fun to go out there and see, you know, 5 and 6 guys that are all so competitive and so close that on any given night anybody can do anything. And you know, I feel like I've done a lot of great things this year. I've skated really solid, and I feel like I'm on the right path.
Welcome back to St. Petersburg, Russia, and the Hermitage, part of the remarkable history here in one of the world's great art collections. Right now, the men's free skate continues, and the lone American in this event, Michael Weiss, the newly crowned U.S. men's champion, takes the ice in 5th place after the short program, but with some opportunity to move up. The 2 skaters ahead of him have struggled.
He'll be skating to music from the motion picture Mulan. It'll be interesting to see if he attempts a quadruple toe loop.
He attempted one in the short program, almost hit it, but did not stand up on it, and he told us that he has nothing to lose here. He's moving from that U.S. level to take on the world now, the mantle in the U.S. championships having been passed from Todd Eldridge to Michael Weiss.
Well, it'll be a personal satisfaction for him if he can complete his quadruple toe loop. I don't think he's done it in actual competition. Here it is. I think that was 2-footed. I'd have to see it in slow motion to tell, but it certainly was a good attempt.
As close, if it was 2-footed, as he has ever come in competition. You remember a few years ago at the Nationals, he 2-footed a quad too, but that looked even cleaner. We'll have to wait and see.
Axel, triple toe, but he fell out of the ending one.
By the way, the scores for Andrei Plushenko range from 5.1 to 5.6 overall, and he is in 2nd place in terms of those that have skated.
We're really struggling on these jumps, and that's one of the sad parts about Michael Weiss, that he hasn't been able to overcome that. Instead of flowing in and flowing out of these jumps, he kind of forces them, and the edges twist and go from inside to outside edge. He's got to improve that. You could see the takeoff edge there. It skidded off the ice. It didn't go straight up into the air, and that's why he had problems with the landing. Almost every jump that has a problem in the landing, the problem is in the takeoff. You have a good takeoff, you will 9 times out of 10 have a good landing. Jump. Was okay. Didn't sing, but it was okay. how it's a huge serpentine crisscrossing the ice. That was nice. Good triple lud. Neat combination spin at the end of his program.
Well, Michael Weiss got to be relieved and happy. All the way over here, stepping up to the next level to take on the best Russians, the best in the world, and satisfied with that performance. When we continue from St. Petersburg, the young Russian national champion, Yevgeny Plushenko, in second place after the short program here at the Grand Prix final. He'll skate right after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Michael Weiss and his longtime coach, Audrey Wisiger, awaiting the scores.
Now, look at this quadruple toe loop. The toe pick, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just a little bit crisscrossed feet at the end. I think you can see that better here in this section of slow motion right there. Yep, the toe pick goes down. It keeps it from being clean, but it was an awfully good try and a very complete jump except for that.
He's been so close, but he has yet to land that successfully in competition. Now he's trying to move up in the standings here. The first set of marks, 5.5 to 5.7. Remember, he was in 5th place after the short program.
5.6.
And now the marks, Dick, for presentation, also 5.5 to 5.7.
And not much variation there. Very steady marks. I think similar thinking on the part of the judges.
But he has jumped ahead now of Alexander Abt, so Michael Weiss, in terms at least of those that have skated in the free skate, in first place. But here is one of the crowd favorites in his hometown, the young gun, 16 years of age, Yevgeny Plushenko. He won both of his Grand Prix events this season. He is in second place right behind Yagudin.
And he really took off, had enormous excitement at the European Championships in Prague just a couple of weeks back. I mean, he really lit up the building. Let's see if that same thing happens tonight.
The current Russian national champion.
Now, if he's going to do his quadruple, it will be right here. Now, you see, it was a clean landing, but he couldn't control it, so he did double 3 turns coming out of it, and that, of course, marked it off. But it was, again, an awfully good move. Remember, you're going around 4 times in the air, and that ain't easy.
You begin to take it for granted because you see it often from these guys, but that is amazing.
And there was what? Double axel, a little bit of a sloppiness on the landing.
Yevgeny, originally from the city of Volgograd,
When he was 11 years of age, he and his mother forced to move to St. Petersburg because the lone rink there was closed. Came here under the tutelage of Alexei Mishin.
Look at this triple axel. Again, you see two hands down. It's like when that excitement, that 16-year-old energy and excitement escapes, you've got to have awfully good technique to follow it up with. And that technique is not holding him in good stead tonight. Right there, he didn't reach back far enough. And again, on the second jump, he couldn't control the landing. This is going to be an eye-opener to him.
This is very much like the European Championships when he came out of the box with so much enthusiasm and emotion, but that, as you say, only carries you so far.
Yeah, but except he has none of that excitement tonight. These are circular steps. He has a certain amount of flair, I will say. You can see it right here. See how off-angled that was. Triple Salchow, triple toe loop. Those are neat and secure. Footwork. Very good, but very sloppy moves in the middle of it. Final combination spin. So-called Bielman spin. But the rest of that spin was really mediocre. You know, this is a very talented young man, and it just seems that he's all over the lot tonight. I mean, he's got a good energy, he's got good jumping ability, and he can be awfully sloppy. I don't know where he's going, and I don't think the music helped him very much. And yet I like his skating. So what can I tell you?
And when you're in your hometown, they'll applaud you no matter what you do on the ice.
Now look at this quadruple toe loop that he does here. This is the first one he did right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now watch the two-footed. Oh, no, it wasn't a two-footed landing, but he couldn't control the landing. Clean all the way out. He did not check it. Now, then he changed and did it again in the second move. Right here, you see it again. Good, tight crossed feet, but this one was a double-footed landing, and again, he couldn't control check the landing, so he had a very sloppy second jump on it. It's like he's all over the lot.
But he is compelling. He makes you watch him on the ice no matter what he's doing. Now the first set of marks for Yevgeny, 5.6 up to 5.8. His coach in the middle there, Alexei Mishin, who also coaches Ermanov. Presentation marks 5.5 up to 5.8 for the 16-year-old. When we continue from St. Petersburg, Alexei Yagudin will look for another victory. He's won 2 European titles and a world championship, and he leads after the short program. A win in his hometown would mean everything. Welcome back as the men's competition continues here in St. Petersburg, and Alexei Yagudin moments away from taking the ice here in his hometown. He may only be 18 years of age, but he has had a long and at times very tough road to the top. Leslie Visser has more on his story.
Growing up in St. Petersburg, Alexei Yagudin suffered hardships at an early age. As a boy, he and his mother were abandoned by Alexei's father. He was often so sick that doctors told Alexei's mother to find some sport, any sport, for her 4-year-old son to play.
My mother and her brother were out for a walk, and they read an ad on a street lamp inviting children of my age to enroll in a figure skating class. My mother didn't take long to make the decision.
I'd never been a figure skating fan. I never meant for him to become a professional skater. Nothing of the kind. Of course, we were late for the tryout. The door was locked. By a sheer miracle, the coach came out and said, "One more boy, come on in."
Well, oh boy, in walked the future world champion with a talent even his mother recognized.
When I got a little older, like 8 or 9, my mother was still working with me. We would go to an outdoor ice rink and skate a lot in addition to my training. I think she made a big investment in me, and I feel that I'm still using that reserve which I created with her help.
The bond between mother and son was solidified not only on the ice, but from living in a 2-bedroom communal apartment where Alexei and his mother shared a room, as well as sharing a kitchen and a bathroom with another family. Alexei dreamed dreams of securing an apartment for his family rather than of winning a world championship.
He realized that by myself I could never get an apartment, and buying one was out of the question. He always dreamed of having his own place, at least his own room. He didn't really want a house or an apartment that much, but just his own little corner where he could have his things and where he could feel like the boss.
Last year, at the age of 18, Alexei became the first men's world champion from post-Soviet Russia. That victory, along with wins at the 1998 European Championships and other competitions, meant that Alexei was able to save enough money to give back to the one person who'd given him so much. He was able to move his mother into their own 2-bedroom apartment.
Everything I did in my life, I did it because I had to. It's so tiring to skate every day. I wake up every morning and think, my God, again I have so much I have to get done today. But that's my life, and I have to make myself get up. I have to constantly overcome myself. Now, of course, I'm not skating just to make money. I want to become a 2-time world champion. I want to win the Olympics in 3 years.
Yagudin, the reigning world champion, is likely to be a favorite in Salt Lake in 2002. Meanwhile, his mother Zoya is not here. She says she's too nervous to watch him perform. In fact, she'll have to read about it because she says she's too nervous even to watch him on TV. Terry?
Well, this is a glamorous sport, and you sometimes forget about all the sacrifices that the skaters make and their families make. Anyone who is skating in Russia right now and has lived here, grown up here, and competing, a lot of sacrifices. Here is the world champion Alexei Yagudin and the leader after the short program.
The music, Lawrence of Arabia. Now look at how clean and secure and straight up that was. That's the way it should be done. Now if he does his quadruple toe loop, it will be right here. Again, a full, complete revolution, but he too couldn't check the landing and did double threes coming out of it. But that was the best example so far. Another triple axel. Oh, and that was just opened up and left into a single axel.
Alexei, the European champion once again. in Prague. He won it a year ago, too. And, Dick, again, we come into an event like this on the world stage, and everyone talks about how important the quadruple jump is, and you have to have it to win, and yet we have still not seen a clean one.
Triple flip. Triple toe loop. What's so good about him is that he has wonderful security, wonderful strength. There's very little superfluous flair. It all applies in very good technique. Triple lutz. Well, that was a very solid performance for Alexei Yagudin. You know, he had a few minor things where he opened up or didn't quite complete the two jump combinations. But, you know, it was a very good performance all around. Steady, secure, very controlled. He was mature about that program. This was not a 16-year-old slapping it all together.
Doesn't get much better than coming home in front of all the fans here, your family, your friends, and winning. We'll have to wait and see if that'll happen for Alexei Yagudin. Back in St. Petersburg, Alexei Yagudin was in first place after the short program. The smile on his face tells you what he thinks about his free skate.
But look here at this triple axel. Look at the height, the way he went into that edge, the good straight body lean, the clean edge coming out there. He stretches back and does a triple toe loop, and that's just fine. Those were wonderful. Now look here again at this quadruple toe. 1, 2, 3, 4. But now watch the landing. He forces it through. He hangs on, but he has to do a double 3 rather than check it out.
Along with Tatiana Tarasova, his coach, they train in Freehold, New Jersey.
Remember,
first set of marks, Dick, 5.8 and a 5.9.
Remember, Tatiana Tarasova also coached Ilya Kulik to his gold medal win. These marks are very fine, very strong. I mean, any time you get that kind of steady second mark, you're in good shape.
And obviously, he is the leader. So it's Alexei Yagudin, Yevgeny Plushenko, and Michael Weiss, the U.S. champion. That's your top 3. As Alexei Urmanov, the '94 Olympic champion, skates onto the ice in third place after the short program. So he controls his destiny. Should he win the free skate, he would be the overall winner.
And don't you like all the flags waving? I mean, everybody here has got a red, white, and blue Russian flag, and they're just cheering these guys on. It's really nice to see. He, by the way, is one of the heartthrobs of the young lady contingent here, and they all like him. He's
so I hear.
Very nice young man. Looks like a young Tyrone Power, which I've said before and say again.
Before my time. But I'll trust you.
Movie star.
He is also the man Yagudin grew up idolizing and copying.
He also has very many stylized moves all the way through his skating. Arm movements, look at this. Triple flip. That was certainly an easy, clean, beautiful move. This is his triple axel. Now watch the body lean in the air. Straight up. Look at how he leans out. But this time he didn't save it. Normally he does check it like almost like a cat landing and controls it. This one he had to step out of it. Another triple axel. That one was a clean landing. But back outside edge, leading into this triple Lutz.
You know, Romanov, Yagudin, and Plushenko at one time were all coached by Alexei Mishin. Yagudin has since left, of course, and gone to Tatiana Tarasova. But that's some trio of Russian skaters.
That should have been a triple loop jump. It was a double. Since he had a very serious groin injury a year or so ago, he's had trouble coming back with the same flair and excitement that he had before. But that was a nice triple loop jump. He was not about to show that he couldn't do that jump. This is serpentine footwork combination. Final move of butterfly into a back sit spin. A nice performance, but it kind of lacked excitement towards the end. He didn't seem to be as energetic and as with it as he usually is. The moves were nice. The jumps were good. There were some, missed moments here and there, but generally I just didn't think he sang in it.
Alexei Yagudin at the top. Maybe tough to catch him, but we'll see. Alexei Urmanov, homecoming weekend for him, too. Back in St. Petersburg, Alexei Urmanov milked it for everything it was worth. It took him a long time to leave the ice here in his hometown. And the first set of marks as he tries to catch Alexei Yagudin, 5.4 to 5.6, nowhere near Yagudin's.
No, well, his mark, his technical merit did not command that high mark at all.
5.7 and then a 5.9 as well. So Alexei Urmanov right behind his countryman.
I think he should be very pleased with that second place win.
So the 18-year-old Alexei Yagudin gets the win over the guy he used to idolize, Alexei Urmanov. Plushenko rounds out the top three for the Russians. Michael Weiss moves up from 5th to finish 4th. Leslie Visser standing by right now, the winner and one of the favorite sons here. Leslie?
Terry, he is the man from St. Petersburg. He's won everything he's entered this year, and so it continues. Congratulations to you. What did it mean to win in your hometown?
So, it was more harder to skate here. I mean, it was harder to skate than in Europeans because this is my home city and all my friends watched me here. So, first of all, I have to skate good for them, and I did great.
It was very impressive, and he says he doesn't know yet what he's going to do with the $50,000 more than 1,000,000 rubles. Terry?
Leslie, that'll buy a lot of boars. Alexei Yagudin, the winner over his former idol, Alexei Urmanov, here in Russia. And in the ladies' competition, an upset. Tatiana Malinina of Uzbekistan, the winner. Our coverage of the ISU Grand Prix Finals continues tomorrow at 1 Eastern, 3 Pacific here on ABC Sports, the pairs and ice dancing finals. For Dick Button, Peggy Fleming, Leslie Visser, I'm Terry Gannon. Until then, so long from St. Petersburg.